Hi, good evening everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Entering the Unknown. This week we are joined by the lovely Wes Coleman. Hi Wes, how are you?
Very good. How are you tonight?
I've been better, to be fair.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's been a while since we've had a chat, to be fair, Wes. I've not spoken. It's got to be at least a year since I've last spoken to you.
Yeah, at least a year, maybe two.
But this is the first time for me, so nice to meet you, Wes.
So you're a Wes Coleman virgin then?
Yeah.
Somebody has to be. Not many of them around, eh, Wes?
Well, that could get me into trouble, so I'm not going to say anything.
You don't need no encouragement getting into trouble.
Sometimes.
We are joined. Sorry, I am just turning my thingy on so I can see any comments that come in. So how is everybody? What's everybody been up to?
I've been decorating. There you. Just finished. So.
Where's what you been up to?
Well, everything over here is, as much lockdown as you guys are. It's a pretty sad time, and there's not a lot on the go unless it's online these days. So it's a pretty bad day, pretty bad society,
Yeah.
So I take it you're still working, Wes, because you are a correctional officer, aren't you?
I am. Yes, I am. Yeah, you have to keep the prisons going. You can't leave them unattended. But it's a crazy time in there too. They're locked down a little more because of the situation. They can't have their visitors in. When something like that gets into a prison, it just spreads like wildfire. So it's a real different time.
It must be pretty tough, the work that you're doing, because how can you social distance yourself in a sort of like environment?
Well, it's difficult, and we all wear masks. So when we're working, because obviously you have that tight knit group, and the inmates are worried about us bringing the virus into the institution because they're all safe. They're probably safer than they've ever been within four fences. So. It's a really unique situation for sure.
Have you had any cases at all in the prison, Wes?
Not yet. Not in our prison. We have in other prisons. They've been isolated and contained though, which is a good thing. But we've been lucky, certainly in our prison, that hasn't happened yet. Cross your fingers.
Really lucky. Absolutely. Absolutely. So how have you found the whole COVID situation? Because you are quite used to being active. I'm pretty sure that you're still active, but you're used to being out there, investigating when you're not working, out with your team, out with your friends. David, sort your phone out.
That's me. Yeah. All right, go on.
Sorry, Wes. Honestly, you can't get the stuff. So how have you found the not being out there investigating?
It's been very depressing because that's my hobby. That's my escape from the job that I do. It's my luxury time basically. And I spend a lot of time traveling and going around to different places, not only in Canada, but as you know, I've been over to England a few times. I had a lot of things scheduled this year in England that I had to cancel, which have been, put off till next year. Hopefully, if that works out, but who knows?
This is the thing, though, isn't it? Yeah, we're in uncharted waters, so to speak. We just don't know what's going to happen next. We've just had our hospitality sector not closed down, but reduced time. So it's still going to be difficult now, even though restrictions have been lifted but then put back in place. Like, still going out investigating now it's not something that you can realistically do.
Right. Well, it's not something you want to take a risk for. I know, I'm out of all the people in the world, I'm the one, that gets as depressed as anybody else about all this situation. Trust me. But I think we really have to stick through it, and do the safety precautions, wear the mask, do the social distancing. And hopefully, in a year's time, I know there are people that are against the vaccine over there. I've heard different people rumblings that they're, if it comes out, we're not taking it. But once the research is done, and we'll just have to see how it all plays out. But we just have to have patience. And I know that's difficult, especially for social people like ourselves. It's to talk online on Zoom and all these different platforms. It's certainly not like you are in person, right?
It's not the same. Yeah, definitely not the same. Like, you know what I'm like, Wes. I mean, you've never actually met me in person as yet, because you've managed to escape me every time you have been over to the UK. But but I like to hug people, and that is obviously a massive no-go at the minute. You can't just go up to your friends and have a hug, and it's just so sad.
Yeah, it's crazy, and as I said, I think everybody is, in their own kind of state of depression, realize it or not. But we just have to bear through it, and we have to keep, our heads up and just do what we can to be positive. And
I don't think I'm going to be helping with the whole depression, to be fair, because I've come live on Facebook tonight after being to the gym with no makeup on and my hair scraped back. So apologies, everyone.
You still look beautiful, Gemma.
Oh, Wes Coleman, everyone.
She'll be asking you to marry her in a minute.
No, I did that once live on air, and I'm not doing it again because I got rejected. It was heartbreaking.
I married my British person already and got divorced, so that's not going to work out.
See, I would have been rejected again. It's a good job I didn't ask. Wes, you saved me.
I still love you, though.
Somebody has to, mate. Somebody has to. So before COVID, Wes, you was obviously always out doing something. I know you came over to the UK with Richards, and was it Bodmin that you did?
Yes, Bodmin Jail. Yes, that was one of the places.
This is testing my memory because that's going back quite some time now.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
So how was that investigation? Because I've not actually spoken to you since then.
It was phenomenal. I mean, we don't have the history you have over here in Canada. I mean, we do, but it's it's not as obviously as grand as yours. So going to a place like Bodmin, where the history of the people that were, put in there for various crimes. I mean, something like stealing a head of lettuce, a person did, 3 months in there with murderers and stuff. So it was quite a spooky place. We had some interesting things happen there. The host of the place, Kirsten Honey, is just an amazing lady who showed us around the whole place, gave us a lot of insight into different areas within it. And if you get a chance, read The Hanging Pit. That has everything about our investigation in there by the amazing Richard Estep. And you'll quite enjoy it. It was a really, really good investigation.
It seemed it. I know. We spoke briefly after, and we didn't really have much of a conversation, in all fairness, because it was a bit manic. Everybody was just out, wasn't they? Pre-COVID, life was great. So you went and did Bodmin. What else did you do while you was in the UK? Because it weren't just Bodmin that you did, was it?
No, we did a place called Pengenna Manor, which is an old manor house, which is just a lovely spot. A gentleman by the name of Graham owns that place, and it's went through his family for generations, and he would have different things happen. But that was more of a kind of a loving haunting than anything. Like I felt really good about that place. It was nice. The people that were around in that area were in the spirit realm were loving people. I never felt any kind of evil at all. We did the Jamaica Inn, of course. That's obviously tons of history there. Incredible place. Had some interesting things happen, like going to bed at 2:00 in the morning. I was just completely knackered one night, and I went to bed at quite early for me, 2 a.m. And I had a big knock on the door, like bang, bang, bang. And I went to get it, and there was nobody there. And I did talk to the people, that organize it, Corinne Besant there, who runs the paranormal team out of there. She told me, like, no, we don't do any of that kind of thing. And I trust her anyway. I've known her for a few years, and it was interesting for sure.
See, they are some amazing locations that you did visit while you was here. But like you say, here in the UK, we have got the hundreds and hundreds of years of history tied to our buildings, which is something that is very uncommon for your neck of the woods. I mean, you're Canada, aren't you, Wes?
Yes. Yeah. All the way from the Great White North.
Is that Carl by any chance?
Yes, it is.
I just see a comment come up and it just says Facebook user, Wes, what would you suggest a good cigar would be for the current time in the world? And I instantly knew that was Carl.
Yeah, that's a great question. You know me and my cigars, I guess. I don't know how that would happen, but there's so many great different cigars out there. And a lot are really good cigars, but I think they're overrated a bit. I'm kind of more into the Nicaraguans these days. Brickhouse are a nice one. Punch from Nicaragua are good ones. Totally non-paranormal related question, but you know what? I like it.
Be paranormal. It's speak to Wes Coleman. We could be speaking about absolutely anything.
Yeah, I told you it'd be about everything.
You never quite know what you're going to get with me at the best of times anyway, Wes, do you? Let's be realistic.
That's true, very true. Yeah, you caught me off guard a few times the last time.
Did I? That surprises me because I thought I was on my best behavior.
You were kind of, you were good at the start, and I knew you were trying very hard, but at the end it all came unraveled.
Oh God, honestly, the things we used to discuss live on air, shocking. So let's move it back onto the paranormal. Look at me trying to be professional, everyone. So in terms of the history varying from Canada, because you do travel quite a bit, don't you, Wes? It's not just Canada and the UK that you've done, is it?
No, the USA, parts of Central America, yeah, pretty much.
On the USA side of things, especially on the States, with the States, I find a lot of mentions of demonic entities, whereas over here in the UK, that's not something that we tend to hear of an awful lot.
Yeah, the Canadians kind of tend to get out of that too. I think we're more along with the Empire on that one. We're not really. I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I'm not really. I'm sure those forces are out there. I always keep an open mind to things. I've never experienced them. I've been to a lot of different locations. I've experienced evil hauntings. I've never experienced the devil coming to me or one of his disciples. I don't hold a lot of credence in that. Yeah. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't exist. It's not something that I've ever experienced. And I've been to some of the world's craziest prisons. Like some of these prisons have had, murderers and, so these are very evil people, but, to have somebody represented by a demon or anything like that, that's not something I've encountered so far.
You see, I'm with you. I can't rule it out, just like I can't rule out UFOs. I can't rule out fairies. I can't rule out lots of things. But what I can say is that I've personally never experienced such a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to leave that open mind, right? I mean, my philosophy is that I keep an open mind to everything. And I'm not a big ghost show fan. I don't watch a lot of ghost shows just because they irritate the hell out of me. Excuse the pun, hell. But it's just, a lot of it's entertainment, right? It's actual. I always like to gather as much evidence as possible and then let the people decide if it's real or it's not real. Because everybody has their own opinions. And to be firm on the paranormal, well, we really don't know what it is. So how can we be firm on it, right? You just have to be open-minded at all times and keep learning.
Absolutely. You see, I couldn't agree more. Like, nobody knows everything in a world in the world of paranormal, when it's an umbrella term, and we have no proof on what anything is.
Exactly.
When it comes to work, I think I spoke to you last time actually about this, Wes, because as we've said, you do work in a prison. So there is obviously times where the prison is quiet, I suppose, on the rare occasion. Have you ever had anything happen during your working hours inside the prison?
Like with respect to the paranormal?
Paranormal, yeah.
Not as an IMAN. It's been pretty. I mean, we've had our number of deaths in our place, but I've never encountered anything. Our prison is relatively new. It was established in around 1995, 1996. So we don't really have a lot of, not to say that, there could be, ghosts from 2000 and whatever, but we just don't have that kind of history. And you know what? Location has a lot to do with the way people experience the paranormal too. Ours is very modern prison. We do have a prison that's down the road from us. There's 7 prisons in the area that I work in. And the oldest one is now decommissioned. It's called Kingston Penitentiary, and it was built in 1835. It was decommissioned in 2014, and that place has got there's numerous stories about different hauntings in that place, as well as the place across the road, which is the prison for women, which obviously is a women's penitentiary, which is now closed as well. So in my prison, no, I haven't experienced any.
Have any of do you call them inmates?
Yes, inmates or convicts or offenders.
So have any of them ever said about anything strange happening? I know it's a reasonably new prison, but there has still been deaths, and what was on that land previous. Is there a possibility of a form of haunting? So has any of your inmates ever said about strange happenings?
Not at our place. Mind you, they don't really know what I do. For one thing, I try to keep it as private as possible. I mean, obviously, I'm on the internet and that sort of thing, but they don't have access to that. So, although there have been people, like I've done like a couple of TV news shows, and they've seen me on TV, but that's different. But it's just isolated to a few inmates because most of them don't watch the news for whatever reason. So. But anyway, it hasn't been any inmates come up to me about anything. As far as Kingston Penitentiary goes, officers have told me that they've had numerous experiences in there, seeing apparitions, seeing dark figures, shadow figures, experiencing the cold chills, and that kind of thing. It's a very dank, kind of desolate prison, very similar to Bodmin, but just a little bit newer. I think Bodmin was 1700s, as I remember. But it's still that lot, like it's all made out of limestone walls, and we all know what limestone does if we know the stone tape theory, right? So it's it can create a lot of stuff as well, So yeah.
Have I lost you?
No, it's still there.
Oh, everybody just froze then. I was like, oh no. Oh no, I just thought I'd lost
Oh yeah, I didn't know whether I should do
a
dance or a show or what.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know.
Do a little jig for me whenever it stops moving. No, you both just froze on my laptop for a minute there, so many apologies.
How many people do you have in your team then, Wes?
We have 3 currently. We have 3 currently. We did have 4. We have 3, Darren, Chris, and myself. Darren is the tech guy. He deals with all the tech. As you know, earlier, I was contacting both of you as far as how the hell do I get on this thing, because I'm just terrible with tech stuff. I'm just like,
to be honest,
the old man of tech. Yeah, well, the weird thing is I still have a Commodore 64, and it doesn't even connect to the internet. Anyway, no, it's not quite that bad. I just, the tech stuff is hard for me. So he does all of that. Like, he puts stuff together. Like, he's just an incredible guy. He's got so much knowledge when it comes to the tech stuff. And then we have Chris, and Chris is our researcher. So when we get a certain location, he'll do all the research behind it. He'll let us know like what it's all about, the history of the hauntings, the history of the place as far as, what occurred there. So he does all that and has that prep for our investigations. And for me, I just kind of oversee everything. I put everything together and make sure people are doing the right things at the right times and that kind of thing. So
does anybody else keep freezing?
No, it's just you, Gemma, I think.
But so I think I'm on a delay from you guys then. So I'm really sorry. Let me just keep talking while I just tinker with my old Wi-Fi.
So going on with the tech sort of like background, Wes, what sort of gadgets do you use when you're on investigations? Or any?
Okay, you're kind of coming in a little bit choppy there. I didn't understand your question, sorry.
What kind of gadgets do you use on your investigations?
Well, all the traditional stuff as well as some of the newer stuff. One of the things I've noticed over the years, for me, as long as you have the most important stuff, the EVP recordings, the cameras, and the other stuff is kind of just like toys, is what I would call them. I'm more kind of turning, the more and more I do this, to kind of phase away from some of the equipment, because I'm really not out to try to prove anything to anybody. I don't mind telling my stories, showing people the evidence as far as some of the things we found out, and then leave it up to them. I'm not trying to prove anything. So if I can, get some stuff on, on EVP, and you never know what it is. It could be a spirit voice, or it could be something that's explainable. But the most important thing is that over the course of the years that I've been doing this, I find that if attention is all on the equipment, then I'm missing out what's going on. And to me, the investigation, doing a paranormal investigation, is about your senses and about taking everything in and enjoying it for what's actually going on. So when you're face down in equipment, seeing, what's going on, what's this, what's that noise, it's good. It's nice to have, but you're missing the genuine experience, which as I get to do this more and more,
Wes?
I think he's froze at the moment.
I think we've lost you. Wes, if you're there, come back. This is like Mork and Mindy, isn't it? Mork calling Mindy. Come in, Mindy.
Come back, Wes.
Yeah. Grab control to Major Tom.
Oh, perfect.
I think I outdated myself.
Honestly, see, this is the only thing. Look, now we're all forced to use the internet so much more, but the internet is rubbish. I think I've noticed a massive decrease in the internet speed and connectivity.
Well, I think there's so many people using it, right? It just gets overloaded, and it's I don't think it's really designed for the amount of people that are using it these days. And you're coming across an entire ocean. Whether that has anything to do with it, I don't know, but it certainly certainly affects
a little something to do with it, I suppose, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it helped that I was actually hooked up to my mobile phone hotspot rather than my actual house Wi-Fi. That might have had a little bit of an issue to do with it, to be fair.
Well, maybe, but I don't remember when you guys interviewed Zach Bagans this happening, so I'm a little bit concerned.
I wouldn't interview him, to be fair. So,
I know,
yeah, exactly. So you do it. You're already better anyway, because I won't waste my breath.
Who was that, Wes?
Say what now?
Who are you on about, Wes? Who are you on about, Wes?
Have we lost him? Wes,
I'm
don't
still
go.
here.
Come back. Yes.
Yeah, I was just saying. Who are you on about?
Oh, Zach Bagans? Is that what you're talking? Are we still talking about Zach Bagans?
Who?
Oh, yeah.
Who?
No, that's never mind.
Never heard of him.
Sorry, did I mention his name? Did I mention somebody's? I'm sorry. Was it? Okay, sorry. Never mind. I take it all back.
In fact, I'm lying. I did actually watch one of his episodes, and that was when it was the Dybbuk box, actually, and it was when the priest was saying they told me to say this, but that's not the case, and I was just howling. I was like,
well, in all fairness, it's entertainment, right? And once people realize that, there's a huge separation between what we see on TV and what actually happens, then, it doesn't matter.
To me personally, it's not entertainment. It is frustrating as hell because you have people watching these TV programs, and don't get me wrong, it's great that it gets people interested, but people watch this TV show, think that you walk around with a little flashy box and, ghosts are just going to appear when that's not the case.
That's true. Very true. It does give people a false sense of what actually happens. But
I mean, how many times have we all been on investigations where we have sat there all night and absolutely nothing has happened other than you've got frostbite?
Yeah, many, many times, obviously. But it's like anything, really, Gemma. It's like, as a guard, as a prison guard, you watch all these shows, movies on TVs. That's not the way it's like as a prison guard. It's not all about that, There's a lot of downtime. It's not all, going in and, guns a-blazing. We don't even carry guns in the prison. So, I mean, we have them in control posts when there's situations and that, but we don't walk around with them. We're surrounded by inmates all the time. And all we have is basically spray, gas to protect us. So it's a misconception, and we're always stupid too, right? Like we're as dumb as stick, which is what the movies kind of paint us out to be. So yeah.
See, yeah, I take your point actually there, Wes, because you have got a very valid point in what you're saying. Like you say, cop shows, or prison TV series, they've got all this equipment, which in real life it's not the case at all. So I get that, but it's frustrating.
Absolutely. No, 100%. Absolutely.
It's just, it really irritates me. And just going to throw this one out there. Jane Hunt, bog off. Don't think that I'm not seeing your comments pop up on the screen, because I am watching you all. Oh no, and now they're back at it with a canoe. We had somebody who was interviewing once, and it was tip a canoe, and it tickled us. And you know what I'm like, Wes? It takes one thing to throw me off course. A tip a canoe did it for me that night. It really did.
Us Canadians know everything about canoes, so.
Do you know how to tip one?
Yeah, well, is it anything like tipping a cow?
I don't do that neither.
Anyway, I do want to tell you a story. When I was in Vegas, I got in a cab, and the guy says, the driver says, "Are you Canadian?" And I said, "Yeah, how do you know that?" He says, "Oh, I recognize your accent." And he goes, he says, "Do you know what the difference between a canoe and a Canadian is?" And I said, "No." He says, "Oh, well, canoes tip." And I said, "Oh, geez." I said, "Well, you're not getting a tip now, buddy. See you later." Like, who says that, right? When you're trying to get a tip, who says that? Like, that's just ridiculous, right?
I'll give you a tip. Don't say that again.
Yeah, give him a tip. Tip of this. I'm not a violent guy, honestly.
Absolutely not.
Well, maybe.
Or is he? So when you are allowed to venture out again, what is next on your list of locations that you really want to go to? I know you had lots lined up this year, but that you just can't physically do.
Well, they've kind of moved to next year. There's a few locations I can't disclose. They're on Richard Stepp's list that I obviously they're confidential because he's going to be writing books on them. But I am doing a public over there next year in May at Shepton Mallet, which I'm looking forward to. That is definitely on my bucket list. Like, it's like right up there. Like, I've always wanted to go there. So when I was invited to that, I was like, yes. So I like the old prisons, that sort of thing.
Do you feel at home in a prison? I know that sounds like a ridiculous question, but because you work in one, you obviously spend a lot of time there, and a lot of the locations over here are prisons.
I really wouldn't say at home would be the words I would use. I
Comfortable.
use that? No,
It's like
I wouldn't use at home.
Comfortable, is that
Yeah,
better?
well, it's I think as a paranormal investigator going into an old prison, I certainly have a little bit of an advantage because I know sometimes the things to get activity going, if you know what I mean, without being too upfront about things. I mean, just my presence sometimes is enough to get things going. But that being said, too, we were at the Bodmin jail for a few nights, and the first couple of nights it was really quiet. And sometimes having a corrections officer at a prison, an older prison, just the fact that you're there intimidates them, believe it or not, and so they go quiet. So you really have to, and in a case like that, you have to really talk about respect and say why you're there, and get the spirits comfortable with you, and that you're not a person there to hang them or to do bad things to them or that sort of thing, right?
As it should be on any investigation.
Quite a process.
You have to make you do have to make your intentions very clear from the off.
Absolutely, and respect. Respect is huge. Like, even as a job, as what I do for a job every day, it's all about respect, and it's very important that you can't go in there. And there are officers that are like this, will go in and they like to stir up the shit, and it's not a good practice, because I mean, face it, at the end of the day, we all have people to come home to, whether it be a family or a mom and dad, or I guess a mom and dad or a family, but anyway, you know what I mean. So friends, and so it's a very it's all about respect, and that's what we do on our investigations. Unless it's a real serious situation where you have to provoke a bit, those are very few and far between. But usually it's for people or spirits that are not very nice.
Carl wants to know if you are attending Salem next year.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. You kind of phased out there.
Sorry, Carl wants to know if you're attending Salem next year.
Salem, I can't remember. Is that the one that's in June? I'm sorry,
April.
my cat. Oh, it's in April. Oh, okay, yes. I was invited to that by, I think, Ellen McNeil of the New England Ghosts, but I don't think I've given my response to that one yet. And I think it's just because it's dependent on all this COVID stuff, right? Like, I hate to, put stuff into stone when I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I am one of the major proponents of, the safety around COVID, and I won't, make a decision until I know that things are going to be good, because I won't take that risk, and I won't risk the people around me for doing events like that, as much as I want to do them. But we'll just have to wait and see. Thanks, Carl.
See, this is the problem, though, isn't it? Because everything is so unknown. It just makes it so difficult, because, we've been wanting to plan to go out and do investigations, but it's just not the right time. It is not safe to be doing so. And as much as we love the paranormal, for the majority of us, it is just a hobby. We've still got our day jobs that we need to attend to, and our families to look after.
Absolutely.
So, it's really difficult.
And it's so depressing, because I have all this stuff on the go, that are just lifetime bucket list things. I'm supposed to go to the Skirrid next year, and Drakelow, and these are places I've heard so much about. But I've been fortunate in the past to be able to do Edinburgh. I've done the Vault. I did Mary King's Close. I didn't, believe it or not, I talked to the guy at Mary King's Close about 8 or 9 years ago. I said, is there any chance, and this was when I was doing the tour during the day, I said, is there any chance I could come in here at night and just like stay overnight? And he goes, well, he says, I might be able to do something for you. How much, would you be willing to pay me to stay? And I said, well, like, I'm Canadian, our currency exchange is terrible, right? So I said, well, I could give you like £50 if you'd let me stay the night there by myself. And he's like, oh, he says, I was kind of thinking more like 200. And I said, no. I said, like, all I can do is 50. He says, all right, give it to me. So I stayed there overnight by myself. I shouldn't say by myself. I had my cousin with me, who isn't really into the paranormal. And it was just to be in a place like that by yourself. And now it's such a, I think then Most Haunted did that shortly after that. They did the Mary King's Close. So I feel very, very fortunate. Are you okay?
I'm absolutely fine.
Oh, I saw you kind of tip over there. I thought maybe you passed out. I've seen those pictures, so I know you can do that.
Damn Facebook and those pictures.
how often do you come over then, Wes, to England?
I've been over to England quite a few times. I have relatives down in Devon, so I go down to see them semi-regularly. So I've actually I got into the paranormal aspect of England through going to an investigation with Corinne Besant years ago. And she was actually the one that introduced me to Richard Estep, because she thought we'd have so much in common, and it blew from there. Like we got along like we're brothers right now. I love the guy, super guy. And if you ever get a chance to have him, I don't know if you've had him on before, but he's a really decent guy. He's got a lot to say about his books that are really interesting. So that's how, I kind of got into England, and I just kind of went from there. I went to various locations all over, and I was actually at Bodmin before I did the investigation there, and love Cornwall. Cornwall's such a beautiful area of your country.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Yeah. I like Cornwall.
Yeah.
Just for a holiday, to be fair. I like to go get away for a bit.
Not too
much of that. I do not like. I swear, you lot all make out that I'm some sort of raging alcoholic.
Me? No.
I don't know where you all got that idea from.
I don't know. There's a certain anyway.
I think she's got
JL?
a picture. I think she's got a picture of every pub in the country near enough.
Oh yeah, well, I've seen her in a lot of the pubs too. Mind you, I only see her from the ceiling for whatever reason. I don't understand why. But... sorry, Gemma. I didn't mean to embarrass you. You're very beautiful.
Gemma night by any chance? Pick on Gemma night by any chance?
No, I'm sorry. You're lovely.
And I love the fact that you're telling me I look beautiful with absolutely no makeup on and my hair slapped back as though, I'm loving life.
Well, you are. I mean, it looks different when I'm not wearing my glasses. So, I mean...
Yeah, maybe don't
seriously.
put them on. Maybe keep your glasses off, just saying.
I judge a person's beauty by their soul more than I do their looks, so...
I do have a beautiful soul.
I know you
do. Bless. I'm in love. Wes, do you want to marry me?
That's the second one.
I already married a British person. I told you that.
I'm trying to find
Didn't work out.
And it's not working here. Paranormal dating, that's next on my list of things to do. You just wait.
Well, you have to come to Canada. There's lots of eligible Canadians here.
That was an invite if ever I've had one. I've just been invited over to Canada.
Absolutely. We do have our own place. The COPS team, we manage a facility. It's an old asylum where you can, meet somebody there that's maybe not of this world.
I thought you were going to say meet someone that's of this world.
Oh, yeah, well, that too.
You can have a man. He's going to be dead, but you can have him.
Yeah. Well, they're the best kind. They never talk back, right?
I do like to have a conversation occasionally. So this facility that you manage, Wes, what is it called?
It's called Picton Heights It's actually on Lake Ontario. I don't know if you know the geography here, but we're about 2 hours east of Toronto. And it's an old military base that was turned into an asylum in the late 60s, where they would basically throw all the people that were, you know, it wasn't quite as bad as like a bedlam place like in London, you know, like not that kind of bad, but it was still bad. There was a lot of things that happened there that shouldn't have happened. People were abused. There was a nurse that hung himself there. There's a lot of activity there that can't be explained. It's now actually a paintball facility. You guys have paintball over there, don't you? Like, and it's a great place for a paintball facility. But the owner of the place gives us the paranormal rights to it. So we have teams come and, you know, do the investigations there, and there's a lot of crazy things that have happened. That is a very, very active location.
So what sort of things have happened while you've been investigating in there?
We've had shadow figures. We've had extreme temperature changes. We've had some great EVPs. We've had EMF phenomena. I remember like one specific, I was actually doing a tour and I got extremely ill. And that doesn't, yeah, I had like we do once a year, maybe twice a year, we'll invite people out and they'll come with us and we'll kind of show them what it's all about. Again, just to kind of tell them it's not like TV, right? This is what a real paranormal investigation is like. And I was doing a tour, and this never happened to me before, and it hasn't happened to me since, but I started getting extremely ill. And I had to run, and some of the a lot of the windows are smashed out, so I just kind of went out and I just kind of did my thing. And I just felt like I was being overwhelmed by something. I don't know what it was. You know, some kind of maybe spirit that was there that, you know, didn't want us there. Who knows, right? But I was extremely ill, and the only other time I was ill like that was I went to the Aleister Crowley cottage down in Cornwall, and we didn't do an investigation. Richard and I went up there, and we just kind of checked out the place during the day. And I went to the upstairs and immediately got super, super ill and had to come downstairs, and I just yacked my guts out. And we left the place, came back about an hour later, same thing, went up those stairs, and I was just violently ill. So I don't know, there's something crazy about that place for sure. And I guess now people can't go to it. It's been bought by somebody who are very adamant to keep people out. But it was certainly an amazing location. So those are the two kind of things that have happened to me that have been just, I can't really explain. The other thing I will say is that when I first started doing cops and when we first started coming together, we were all about the evidence, all about the physical, all about the tangible evidence regarding a haunting or building. But things have really changed for me over the years, and I think part of that is keeping the open mind. But I wasn't too really into the spiritual aspect as far as mediums and that kind of thing goes. But I've really developed my skills. I really feel like I'm very empathic, which I never knew before. But I can go into a place and I can get a sense. I mean, obviously, you go into a prison, you really feel bad anyway. But you know, we did the Pengana Manor, and I just felt, you know, this overflow, like this over sense of love in the place. Like it was such a warm and kind place. He was a little bit worried that.
Don't you think though that the more you do open yourself up to the paranormal, the more you tend to take on anyway? So I think so.
But there are people that just refuse to do that. Like I have paranormal friends, and that's completely their thing, and I get it. I completely respect it. But they don't believe, and they just refuse to believe that there's other things involved. And I've just kind of over the years just opened my heart to it, and I get these feelings, and they're bang on, and there are things that I've done. There'll be an investigation coming out that I did with Richard Estep. There'll be a book coming out, I should say, that some of the things that we did, the Estes method. Are you both familiar with the Estes method? When I do the Estes method, the information I get is just unbelievable. Like I can't, like, and the owner of the house was there. We were going over, and she was just like godsmacked with the amount of information that I got. That wouldn't be something you'd see on Google, like former tenants, very, very obscure things that she was, very impressed with. And it's so I've opened myself to that, and I've told people, people have come to me and said, yeah, like you do have the skill that you need to, a prison guard, right? You're like, yeah, that doesn't really go into my personality, right? Like I'm supposed to be a real tough, kind of strong guy, right? I want to take these guys out. But really, you really have to kind of delve into your inside and what you're about. Like, my dad was an Anglican minister, and my grandfather was an Anglican minister, and 4 of my dad's brothers were ministers. So, does that play a part in the person that you are? And does that change the way you feel and the things that you pick up on? Maybe not.
I think a lot of it is, I think a lot of it is who you are as a person anyway. I think if you are quite a caring person, then it doesn't matter what you do, whether it be paranormal investigating, a correctionals officer, working in healthcare. If you have got that caring personality, then you will put your all into it, which means that you're going to reap the rewards from that.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good thing I'm not a caring person.
He's so full of it, it's unreal. What are you lying for? We know you are.
I'm trying to display an image here, and people just don't get it. You need to get it. I'm a tough guy.
Oh, who's that?
Amelia.
Oh, thank you, Amelia. She said you're all right, Wes.
Oh, well, thank you, Amelia. I don't know why you're laughing. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? But
absolutely not. No, of course it is.
The one thing I have noticed, though, is there's a lot of people that are called Facebook user. Are they? Who are they exactly?
Yeah, it must be the same person.
I know. Lots of Facebook users around. Honestly. So what was we waffling on about before? Facebook users. Look, you two keep putting me off tonight. This is ridiculous. Shocking. Wes keeps looking at me. He's like, I'm ready. We're getting to that point in the show where she's going to start saying stuff that she shouldn't be saying.
It's after the watershed.
Well, just make sure you keep the camera, in the right place. Well, I don't want to see it going up.
I do vaguely remember speaking one point, Wes, when I was asking you about your favourite piece of I didn't say your favourite piece of equipment, did I? What did I say?
That was it. Yeah, it was something like that.
It sounded so rude, and that was
you asked me how big my piece of equipment was. Yeah. And that was very embarrassing. That was one of the first interviews I've done, and I wasn't able to show my face in about 4 different countries after that. So I appreciate that. I'm
going really red now. That was not what I said.
Oh, dear.
I said something very similar, but that was not word. I think I was asking how big it was or something, and it literally it sounded so rude, but it wasn't meant to be rude. So let's go back to your equipment, Wes.
Certainly took me back, that's for sure.
So going back to your equipment now, Wes, you're saying that you really have rethought on what you're using, and you're trying not to focus so much on the equipment. If you had to have at least 2 items of equipment, what would they be and why?
Well, I think obviously an EVP recorder is your number one go-to. If you were stuck and that's the only thing that you could bring, that would be the item to bring. And then a camera, an infrared camera, that would be kind of number 2.
So have you ever caught anything on the camera?
I have caught things that perhaps might be something, like, a shadow. I'm very reluctant to put things on Facebook or anywhere else, social media, just because, it's people just, pardon the pun, but just rape the shit out of it, because that's like what a prison guard would say. But they just kind of tear it apart, and they it's horrible, and I just we don't need that, because I'm not here to try to tell you, this is paranormal, and I'm not trying to get people's attention. That's just not me. I mean, it's there, and it's what, I'm satisfying myself with it and going, wow, that's really cool. If people want to see it, yeah, I'll show it to them. But it's it's all up to the individual, and yeah.
Yeah, you see, I agree. So what would be your reason on the EVP? Why would you want that recorder?
Well, there's so many things that, that are going on that, at decibels that we can't even hear. And, I'm not a big guy on enhancement. I don't really believe in that. I want to hear it with my own ears. That being said, EVPs can be affected, as a person that likes to debunk things, EVPs can be affected by the people around you, like movement. Like, one of the things that we wear a lot in Canada are parkas. Is that a surprise, parkas? So when we move, it kind of makes noises that sound like EVPs, right? So when we're outside and we're moving around and shuffling about, we can hear, like, oh, is that somebody talking in the background, or so it's
because it can sound like whispering. To be fair, a parka jacket can sound like whispering in the background. Totally understand that. But you see, that's the difference. Like, whereas a lot of people would put that out into the public domain, saying, hey guys, check it out, I've just caught this awesome EVP. And some people will throw in the word Class A to make it sound better. I've just got this amazing Class A EVP. I hear. It's like, why would you do that? Because to me, you're then planting that audio pareidolia into somebody else's head.
Absolutely. It's all about the power of suggestion, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if that was me, I mean, I personally would, if I wanted to put something out there, I don't tend to put an awful lot of paranormal stuff out there anymore. I've given up. I literally just do our investigations now, don't I, Dave? And that is about it. I don't tend to go out as much anymore. I still spend a lot of time sat reading, as you know, Wes, because I've always been an avid reader, so I will still continue to do that. But I have given up a lot of on a lot of the group paranormals, because it is the power of suggestion, and I think I've come away from that a bit now. And as you said, you've adapted your investigating techniques by looking at your equipment, what you use, why you're using it. Is it beneficial to ghost hunting or paranormal investigating? And then you take a step back and you reconsider everything. So, I think we all go through this stage in our paranormal journeys where we just think, what am I expecting to achieve from doing that?
Absolutely. And, like, I've always professed to people that are starting out as paranormal investigators that, you're always learning. Like, I've been doing this for, I don't know how many years, but you're always learning, and you don't need to prove it to anybody. Like, that's, there's a guy over in England that's going to give you £1 million or whatever if you can properly prove paranormal activity. But to me, you're into it because you want to do it for yourself. You enjoy, this is the thing that you want to know. You want to prove that this stuff exists. And if, you get something or whatever and you want to share it, then share it. But just don't expect that people will see it the same way you do. Just take a step back and do it for the right reasons. Do it for yourself. And then, if you want to share it after, then that's
absolutely.
Totally
these days, I think I am so much more on. I'm not bothered about others, to be fair. in the paranormal field as such. I know that sounds a bit rude. I don't mean it to be rude, but I'm concentrating on me and my personal journey now, rather than, what can I do to improve? Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. The paranormal is always going to be that umbrella term, unless for some reason we can find out exactly what a ghost is and 100% prove it, both physically, scientifically, and spiritually. If you put them all together, the likelihood is that we're not going to be able to do that in our lifetimes. So what am I going to do? I'm going to read. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep adapting my own personal progression when it comes to paranormal investigating, and I'm just going to focus on my personal experience and my personal journey rather than everybody else's.
Exactly. And that's good that you've, come to that conclusion, because I think you'll be a happier person because of it.
Oh, definitely. There's only so much you can cope with, and as you say, people do rip everything to shreds when you put it out on into the public domain, and sometimes that can be so disheartening. I mean, I've had so many. Well, there's no other way to describe it other than arguments with people over the paranormal and what it is, and is it even worth my energy? Because people are only ever going to believe what they want to believe.
Absolutely.
It's tiring. I ain't got enough hours in the day. I'm too busy.
And what do you think, Dave? Like, do you feel the same way Gemma does?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah. I like to be my own person, and if investigating the way I want to be and the way I want to do it. I don't really give too much thought to other people anymore, like I did when I first started. It's just not worth it. Just get on with what you're doing and enjoy it. Like you said, it's a hobby. Yeah. Some people are out there for the fame and whatnot, and let them get on with it. It's. But I've just got a nice family of paranormal friends now and my team, and I'm happy with that.
Oh, you're welcome, David.
Did you notice that I'm doing the interviewing now?
Yeah,
I love the way you do this. Is that so I get off your equipment, Wes? Is that what it is?
Let's not go there. It's a long story.
I just want to go back to the EVP part. Is that some of the EVPs?
Of course you do.
Yeah, some of the EVPs you do get are quite quiet, and I think the more you enhance them on your laptop, the more distorted they get, and the more they sound different to what you're hearing in the first place. So I don't know how some of these people actually get around doing these EVPs and enhancing them and saying that it's the same thing what they're hearing when they first heard it. It's just not right.
Yeah, because it changes, right? Like the more you enhance it, the more it changes, like you were saying, and then you start hearing other things. And I've always hated people that, I shouldn't say hate's a very strong word, but I don't really like people that come up to you and go, can you hear this EVP? Does it sound like this to you?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, that's the worst thing you can do, right? Because it just, the power of suggestion, so don't do that. Like, let me listen to it and I'll tell you if I hear anything or what it says from my point. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, you could be right, but it's certainly very person specific. I mean, if you go into a room, and this has been done, there's been studies done where you have 5 different people in 5 different rooms and you let them listen to each one and they all come out with different things. So again, back to that other show that we were talking about from, that certain individual, he just says, this is on the show, this is what it says. And then you listen to it and you go, yeah, it does say that, and it's like, no, don't do that, right? You're like,
yeah, well, I've listened to some of this, like you said, that person's show, and he's come out and said, this is what this EVP sounds like. And they play it about 3 or 4 times. And it doesn't sound what he's saying to me the same.
Yeah.
It's something completely different.
But the more you hear it, because they've planted that seed, the more you hear it, the more it changes, and then you go, oh.
Yeah.
Every time without fail.
Yeah. So what does that tell you? That tells you got to throw it in, because it doesn't, unless you get it right off, like the genuine class A, EVP, class A, EVP, you can't you can't use it. I mean, it's no good to you.
It is such a shame, really, because if people didn't put the power of suggestion there could be quite a few good pieces of actual evidence out there that's not contaminated, but people go tinkering.
Absolutely.
It's human nature, I suppose, But realistically, do we have to? Can we not just enjoy what we do and do it for our own personal reasons rather than gain?
Absolutely, 100%.
I can't wait to get back out there.
It's like you've been saying. It's like you said the other week, though, Gem. It's like when people put a picture on and they put a red circle around it.
There's nothing that irritates me more than that freaking circle, let me tell you.
The red circle.
Red circle, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there is. Because you both obviously know me pretty well, so you know that I have a lot of buttons. The other thing that really pushes my buttons is paranormal expert.
Yeah.
Or professional.
Yeah. Yeah, those are very, as soon as I hear that, boom, the TV goes off, or I shut it off, or yeah, there's no such thing. We all know, well, I shouldn't say that we all know that, but the people that are relatively smart in the field know that there's no such thing, because obviously we can't prove anything, right? So how can you be a paranormal expert in a field where you can't prove anything? So yeah,
there's a lot of people with a absolute plethora of information, and there is some amazing people, but even the professors in the parapsychology field would not call themselves a professional.
Yeah.
That really winds me up every time. I'm the same as you, though, Wes. The minute I turn it on, if I hear that paranormal expert, I'm like, no, I'm done.
But a lot of those labels are placed by the television network, right?
Yes, so, like the people don't say it, that they get advertised as it, but I can't watch it beyond that point. It's already pushed my buttons and I've instantly gone, no.
Yeah.
No.
But that's because we are investigators, right? If you were a member of the general public that like to watch ghost shows,
I'd be like, ooh, there's
exactly.
a professional, or ooh, there's an expert. But because we all know what it's like, it instantly makes me go, I can't watch it. Which is a shame, because it probably means that I'm missing some really, really good shows. So if you could change...
There's a couple of good ones out there. There's a couple of good shows that are, better than others, I'll say. I mean, I'm not a big show guy, but there are a couple out there that are, better than others. There are some irritating personalities that I don't watch a show because they're irritating personalities. But there are a couple, like I really like the Holzer Files.
You can't talk about me like that while you start talking to me, Wes.
Well, I'm sorry. I wasn't going to mention names, but now that you've said it.
It's all right, I know. It's all right, don't you worry.
But, I mean, Are You Haunted is another one I really enjoy. The Holzer Files I enjoy to watch. But like there are few and far between out there that are actually kind of, like the shows that we would like to watch as investigators that aren't just rubbish, as you would say in British.
Yeah. If you could change anything in the paranormal field, Wes, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Yeah. I think, paranormal.
An hour.
Sorry?
Shut up, Dave. Dave just said, how long did it take you to come up with that? I just said an hour. Shut up, Dave.
Oh. Well, I think that paranormal unity is something that is out there that everybody kind of goes, yeah, paranormal unity, that's a cool thing. But in real life, is it really there? There's so many egos. There's so many people that, shoot people down and take strips out of their character because they believe a certain way or they are a certain way. It's their personality. And I don't think we do enough in as far as paranormal unity to bring people together. And I'm honestly, my heart is just full of love. I'm a correctional officer, but I've got such a love for people, and I will talk to anybody. I will, investigate with anybody that, is truly open to the fact that everybody is different. And, you respect people for their differences and not scorn them because they believe a certain thing or a certain way. I might not believe in what you do, or I may not believe in your opinion, but I'm not going to say, you're an idiot or you're whatever, because you don't believe what I believe. We're all in this to try to find out what everything is about with regards to the paranormal. And we need to come together as people, as humans, and, share everything together and not make it be about ego. And I know that's difficult. I know it's like anything else in the world, right? But I think we really have to take a step back. And I think that ruins a lot of paranormal investigations and teams and relationships, is because there's this fighting going on, and it's really sad. I'd like to see more of it. I'd like to see more where we all get together and care for each other.
See, that's the one thing that we like about doing this. We get to speak to so many other people with different opinions and different views on the paranormal. But in talking, when we're all chatting away, we are all developing our knowledge and our understanding, but we're also becoming open to other people's points of views and opinions, which can only be a good thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's important for us to open our minds and listen to what people have to say and not be closed-minded. I mean, paranormal is all about being open and open-minded. And if you're going to practice that in an investigation, then you need to practice that in your relationships with other people too.
I think what it is, it'd be nice if you could get a group of different teams all together in one place and meet up and just chat about the paranormal and what they've picked up and what they've found and what proof they've got and how they work. It'd be brilliant, but you don't, like you said, you wont get it. There's too many egos.
You see, it occasionally happens. There is paracons and meetups and stuff for you to go to, and then you are getting those like-minded people in the same room, so they are there. Me just throwing it out there. They are there. I get what you're saying, though, Dave. They are like things that you have to pay to go to. It's not like having a church hall where you just meet up and have a chinwag. Do you know what I mean? I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You could do. You could hire a church hall out and just get teams coming in and chatting to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you get it with any other kind of hobbies. You get it with people that like stamp collecting, say, for instance, or people that are into cage birds. You'll get them meeting up once a month and chatting about what their experiences were and how they've gone about doing things. So especially at the minute, because we're all stuck in our houses and not stuck in houses, but because we're all limited. What would be the issue in starting a once a month Zoom call where you can have however many people just on a Zoom chat and just each month have a different topic, and just, if you want to join, if you don't, you don't. Yeah. I should have been Prime Minister. Move over, Boris. I'm coming through.
I don't know about that, but
oh no, I don't know about that either.
It is true, though. Maybe there would be less egos if people was I don't know, more open to just chatting.
Yeah. But I think because one of the things that we have is that because people are so passionate in our area of study that sometimes overwhelms people. They're very, very passionate about certain things, and people are like, no, that's not the way it is at all. And then that starts that whole like rift, right? And when people start recognizing the other person, and saying, okay, he's very passionate about this, he really believes strongly about this, instead of going, you're full of shit, you say, well, that's an I always say interesting when I'm kind of like,
So is
don't
your
really
word
kind of agree.
Is your word interesting code for what I would call bullshit?
No, not really, but interesting as far as in some cases, yeah, but interesting as far as I think it might be a little out there, and I don't necessarily believe in it, but that's what you believe in, and that's fine with me. That's what your heart is in that, and then like I may not necessarily agree, but we don't in anything in life.
We don't have to. Absolutely, we're not all. I mean, what was that comment? Was it a dress or something, green and blue? And did you see it? Was it last year or the year before when there was that two-tone dress going around and everybody was seeing different colours? Well, that's exactly the same thing as the paranormal field. Nobody is ever going to see it exactly the same way.
I didn't see that one. It was a dress, you said? It was a dress? Because I think in Canada...
a pair of trainers or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
In Canada, it was translated, and we actually saw different colors of knickers. So I don't know if that was... Sorry about that.
With these stripy ones.
No comment.
Was the mine? Was the mine, Wes? Was the mine? Was that one of the pub pictures?
I don't know. I'm not saying anything. Nope.
But it is true that, no two people are ever going to see it the same way. But I think we've hit the nail on the head tonight where we've said that you just have to be open to other people's perspective.
Absolutely.
Dave, any more questions? Because we are getting late on this end. What time is it there, Wes?
I don't know. I don't have my glasses on, but we started at 4. What is it, 5 something now, or
it must be, yeah.
10 something now?
Yeah, for me it's 20 past 10.
Okay, so an hour and 20 minutes we've been on, and now that's a long time for me. Like I'm getting old, and I'm going to need a nap soon.
Well, you said this is what I was thinking. You know that I'm usually in bed for 9 p.m., right?
Yeah. I don't know that, but okay. Thanks for telling me.
9 p.m. with me cocoa and my slippers.
Okay.
So it's well past my bedtime, guys. So Wes, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has been far too long.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for having me on, and thanks to all the people that are watching. And if you get a chance and you want to drop by the Cops Correctional Officers Paranormal Facebook page, you can find us on there, and you can find me if you have any questions or you want to talk. My ears are all open. So thank you again, and have a good night.
Thanks, Wes.
Thanks, Wes. And everybody watching, I can't say it better than Wes just has. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, it has been a pleasure, and we will see you all again next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.